a biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Welcome back to 2020. My name is Wendy Francis and I'm guest hosting 2020 this week with Neil away on a very well-deserved leave. And so it's my privilege to be sitting in this chair and I quite enjoyed the time. It's been a really good morning. If you've missed any of the conversation we just had with Matthew Aaron, check it out on the Vision app on the podcast when it goes up because it really was a great conversation. But it's a real privilege for me to talk now with Dan Anderson, Dr. Dan Anderson. His parents are good friends of mine and my husband's, and I happen to know that they're quite proud of their son. I mentioned your PhD before, and I'm scrolling back to see because it was a really interesting PhD topic, Dan. I'm scrolling back. Tell me about it because here it is. Your PhD research was on the ethics of forgiveness in political contexts. I'm right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So I thought it was an interesting topic and it didn't surprise me there was an interesting topic because you're a very interesting man. Some would say unusual, unusually smart, you come up with unusual concepts. And one of the concepts, it's really good because I've got the microphone and I can turn you on and off and I can actually talk over the top of you if I need to. But I'm going to start with your bio. You're the director or the CEO of the Lachlan Macquarie Institute based in Canberra. And that institute, what they do is they seek to train Christian men and women for wise leadership in politics and culture. But what I really want to talk to you about is an event or some sort of a camp thing that you've got coming up. It's called Categoria, and it's in September, the end of September. But why I think you come up with unusual ideas is because this Categoria is actually an ancient Greek word, and it means accusation. So talk to me about Categoria. Talk to me about why you named this particular event Accusation.
Thanks, Wendy. It's really wonderful to be with you.
Yeah.
That was a very nice set of things to say about someone on a Monday morning. You just set me up for the week very well. Thank you.
Well, you do have a very good radio voice as well. So if you're ever out of a job with Categoria, no, come on, tell me about
noted.
it. Yeah.
Well, Categoria, it might be easier to start by thinking a little bit about maybe a word that people would be more familiar with, which is, you know, the concept of apologetics.
Yes.
It comes from a Greek word, apologia.
Yeah.
But an apologia in a ancient courtroom was the defence that you would give of yourself. So if you were put on trial and you had to mount a defence or give an explanation of your actions, that would be engaging in apologetics. So in Peter, when we're told to always be ready with an answer or with a reason for the faith that we hold, that's in a sense giving a defensive move, isn't it? Giving an answer. Mm-hmm. Well, categorics is the other side of that. So if you're in the ancient courtroom and you were engaged in categoria, you'd be the one asking the questions, actually going on the front foot and saying, what about this or why this? So it's not just accusation, it's more questioning. Mm-hmm. My conviction is that Christians need to be involved in both. We need to be both giving a reason, being defensive in the positive sense of giving an account of ourselves, but also sometimes asking questions about the culture around us and how it operates.
I really love it. So that being the case, you've got this training week. It's not really a week. It's about 3 days, I think, and it's coming up on September 26 to 29, Categoria. Who is it for? What do you do there? Where is it? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's held in Murrumbateman, which is where our campus is. We have an educational facility just outside of Canberra that we use for training all sorts of different programs. Our core programs are actually focused on people who are moving into political engagement. And that's why we're based outside of Canberra, people who are thinking about working in politics and in Parliament. But we run these shorter programs as well. And these are for Christians more broadly who are thinking about cultural engagement. How do we ask good questions of the world around us? And not only that, how do we present to the world around us a social vision? What would it look like for our culture to be impacted by the gospel and for people to start to live in a way that witnesses to the real reign of the Lord Jesus? And so we gather people, and that's a real range of people. They come from all around Australia, sometimes even internationally, all sorts of different walks of life, to come and think together about what would it look like to live out our faith in a practically, socially engaged way.
And so I've been at the Murrum Bateman facility. It's beautiful. Just want to make sure people know that you're going to a really beautiful place. The rooms, the bedrooms have their own bathrooms, that sort of thing. So we're not talking about a sort of a campsite situation. But how many people can you actually take, Dan? And is there still room in this particular event coming up?
There's a little bit of room. We deliberately keep most of our programs quite small. We have a real focus on doing things in person, conversationally with each other. Our teaching involves usually a Socratic method of reading and asking questions together around texts. This program's a little bit larger than that and involves lectures, but we do keep it relatively small. But there is still space for people to come. At the moment, accommodation isn't actually on site here, but we use a hotel just down the road, which is also really, really lovely in Murrum Bateman. And then have our sessions actually on site here as well.
Okay. And so are there visiting lecturers or are you the main lecturer?
It's all me all the time. No, not at all. No, we bring in lots and lots of different people, and that's part of what makes this program really delightful. Is the range of people that we come. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's something like in the vicinity of about 12 to 15 different presenters, all of them leaders in different aspects of cultural engagement and Christianity, and they give us a lay of the land, what's going on in our culture at the moment, and then some of the ways that they're practically engaged in doing things. Where that's ranging across people who are involved in things like pregnancy support right through to thinking about population and demographics, all sorts of different kinds of speakers and presenters. And it's conversational. So as they're speaking, people are responding and we're thinking together about how to take some of these and apply ideas and apply them in our contexts. So
good. And so, you're talking about 12 people who come in as leaders. It seems to me like that's amazing because it seems to me as if we are experiencing a little bit of a dearth of good Christian leadership, not just in Australia but around the world. And I'm not just talking about political now, and I know that that's your focus, Dan, but there are, like, even around where I live, I could name a number of fairly significant churches who are looking for senior pastors, for instance, or even rurally, we're looking at churches who are without strong leadership. Do you have, I haven't pre-warned you about this, but do you have something to say to us about why we are seeing a lack of strong leadership at the moment? We're seeing people shy away, I think, from being that leader. Do you have an opinion of that, Dan?
I have a lot of opinions about that, Wendy. Yeah, it's something I've thought quite a lot about in my role before the Lachlan Macquarie Institute. I was a pastor of a church, but also really heavily involved in national university ministry, and particularly for a number of our evangelical churches. It's often through university ministry that people then take a step into a ministry apprenticeship or then into church leadership or mission. And so I've often thought and been in lots of conversations around that ministry leadership pipeline, and what you're describing, the inability for us to raise up pastors for our churches, I actually think is perhaps one, if not the greatest crisis that Christians face at the moment. It's far more significant than anything that's going on socially and culturally, as big as those things are. But the honest answer is that if the life of the church and the way of being God's people is to spill over into the culture around us and to shape and change it, as we hope that it would, we have to have healthy churches. If we can't raise up people to lead our churches and serve our churches, then the whole game is lost. So that is incredibly significant, absolutely. How do we do that, and why are we struggling to do that? I think the way that we have constructed leadership in churches has become very, very difficult for any human person to fulfill. Yeah. We require such a level of professionalisation, skills across counselling and administration and preaching, so many different things. And some of the reason for that, to be perfectly frank, is that church members like you and I have often sat back and tried to give all the leadership to one or two individuals, whereas I think the healthy church is one in which all of us are working together to lead and to serve. serve. And the reason that we do that is because we're busy, our jobs are so demanding, our house prices are so high. There's a whole bunch of social realities that make us too tired and too disengaged with actually being involved in our churches. And that's probably the root of all of these issues, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
there you go. There's
really
my little
good
rant for a moment.
Yeah, no, look, I'd love to get you back for a longer conversation on that, because I agree with you. I think it's one of our huge issues right now in Australia, because if we don't have a healthy church, then we don't have a healthy Australia. And I think, we are seeing churches really struggling to get that leadership. So back to Categoria. If somebody listening is interested in applying or finding out more information, tell us where they go and how they do that.
Yeah, it's like most things these days. You head online to categoria.org.au, and there's a site there that'll give you all the information and the place to register. That's
great. So Categoria is spelled Kategoria. That's Kategoria. So if you you go to the website, but Google that, or even contact us here at Vision if you need more information. But Dan, thank you very much for what you're doing to raise up leaders in Australia. I'm personally really grateful to you, and I thank you for the conversation this morning. I know I got you on at short notice, so I'm grateful to you for your time.
It's always a delight, Wendy, and thank you for your work as well.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.